What is up guys, Jarv here, back today jumping into Destiny 2. Now in today's video we're taking a look at just a handful of weapons that you should be taking into Beyond Light. So if you don't have these, you most definitely will need to chase them down to make sure you're best positioned for the new content this fall. So if you want to find out what they are, be sure to stick around and check out the video. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a rating down below. That super helps me out here on the channel. And if you're new around here and want to keep up to date with all the latest Destiny 2 content, be sure to hit subscribe as well. But without further delay guys, let's jump into the video. Now just before we jump into the meat of this video, I want to first invite you all to the community Discord. We have nearly 1,600 members in here now. It's a fast growing positive community and we have some excellent LFGs as well. So if you want to get things done and finished before the DLC and finish those seals, then be sure to hop in. It's available to everyone and you can find the link in the video description below. Now in today's video we're taking a look at 10 specific weapons that I feel are an absolute must when it comes to Beyond Light. Now the first weapon we're going to take a look at is the Dire Promise. This is a 150 hand cannon and it's actually one of the only, if not the only 150 that's going to be viable in endgame content come this November. Now it has a maximum power of 1310 and it has some excellent perks available to it. Now this weapon is a lightweight frame, so it has superb handling and you also move faster when you have the weapon equipped. Now primarily Dire Promise is often seen as a PvP weapon. It has opening shot and rangefinder as a possible role, and when you pair that with ricochet rounds, that is a god role for PvP, but it has some excellent perk options, especially when it comes to PvE. And this is going to be Overflow and Swashbuckler. Now Overflow allows you to pick up special or heavy ammo, and this will reload the weapon beyond its normal ammo capacity. And when you pair that with Swashbuckler, this will gain increased damage from melee kills and kills with this weapon, and that stacks up to 5 times. So on a lightweight frame, that allows you to deal immense damage to your combatants. Now if you don't have a Dire Promise, it's available as part of the world loot pool. So by handing in engrams at Master Rahul, you'll have a chance at least of getting your hands on one of these hand cannons. But if you have any great rolls guys, be sure to let me know down in the comment section below. And the next weapon we're going to take a look at is the Outbreak Perfected. This is an exotic kinetic pulse rifle available as part of a secret mission over in the old tower. Now it has the exotic intrinsic trait called the Corruption Spreads, and this weapon creates Siva nanite swarms on rapid hits and precision kills. It also allows this weapon to deal more damage to enemies based on the number of Siva nanites that attach to them. Now this is an excellent weapon, especially inside PvE, as it actually does immense amounts of DPS. It actually is one of the best DPS primary weapons in Destiny 2 even now, so it'll be a definite weapon to have as part of your arsenal going into Beyond Light later this fall. But as I said at the beginning of the video, if you're struggling to get people together to help you get things like the Outbreak Perfected, then jump into the Discord and I'm sure we can find a team together to help you get your hands on this incredible weapon. Now for our next weapon, we're going to jump over into the energy slot, and the weapon that we're talking about now is the Gnawing Hunger. This is a legendary energy auto rifle. It's an adaptive frame which is well rounded, reliable and sturdy. Now this is an excellent weapon that's very obtainable this season, especially as part of the Umbral engram. Now as well as some excellent PvP roles, it has some fantastic PvE roles. Now the created role is available as part of the Reckoning, so if you don't have that, be sure to jump into the Reckoning, as the created role is Overflow and Rampage, which is an excellent role when you pair that with Appended Mag. Now the Gnawing Hunger has a power cap of 1360, so this is going to sunset in Season 15. If you can't get your hands on the created role though, then Subsistence is a great alternative to Overflow. Now Subsistence allows kills to partially reload the magazine from reserves, but reserves capacity is reduced, so it acts very similar to Overflow, so it's a good alternative if you can't get the created role. Another possible alternative here would be the Summoner, as this has excellent roles as well, not just for PvP, but it can also roll with Overflow and Rampage. So if you can't get the Gnawing Hunger and you play a lot of PvP, then the Summoner may be a worthy alternative. But as always guys, if you have any role recommendations, be sure to sound off down in the comment section below. Now the next weapon that we're going to be taking a look at is the IKELOS SMG. This was reprised this season as part of the Umbral engram. It's a legendary energy SMG, which is an aggressive frame, so it has high damage with high recoil. Now, it has some fantastic roles, especially for PvE, and it actually forms a key part to a lot of Warmind builds. If you're really keen on Warmind cells and how powerful these can be for ad clear, then the IKELOS SMG is one definitely not to sleep on. Now in terms of the community role, The key role here would be Threat Detector, which increases your reload, stability and handling when enemies are in close proximity, and pairing that with either Surrounded, where this weapon gains bonus damage with 3 or more enemies in close proximity, or even Vorpal Weapon, which increases the damage of this weapon against bosses, vehicles and guardians when their supers are active. Now, much like the Gnawing Hunger, this weapon will sunset in Season 15 with a maximum power cap of 1360, so any of those roles we previously mentioned will serve you very well when it comes to Beyond Light. Now, sticking with special ammo but moving back to the kinetic slot, we're going to take a look at the IZANAGI'S Burden. This is an exotic kinetic sniper rifle which is hard hitting and one of the best end game weapons currently available. Now, it comes with the exotic intrinsic trait Honed Edge, where you can consume the magazine and load a round with additional range and damage, and this is very powerful, especially for end game content as well as those unstoppable barrier and overload champions. It also comes with no distractions now, where aiming this weapon for a short period reduces flinch. Now, as you guys may be aware, you'll see a lot of IZANAGI'S Burden, especially when it comes to Grandmaster Nightfall, and this is because it deals immense damage from range and allows you to take out champions with relative ease, especially when you pair it with some other weapons, which we'll cover later in this video. Now, to get the IZANAGI'S Burden, you'll need to complete an exotic quest, and as an exotic, it will not be sunset either, so it will form a key part to your arsenal in the DLC later this fall. Now, the next weapon we're going to look at is moving back to the energy slot with special ammo, and this is the ERIANA'S Vow. This was a seasonal exotic back in the Season of Undying, and it comes with the exotic trait Looks Can Kill, so this weapon fires special shield piercing ammunition. It comes with a scope and is strong against barrier champions specifically. It also has the legendary trait Death at First Glance, where bonus damage while aiming down sights on the opening shot of attack, and this bonus is preserved if the shot deals precision damage or strikes an elemental shield. Now, the ERIANA'S Vow is a very strong exotic indeed. Much like the IZANAGI'S Burden, you'll find this very much form part of key builds when it comes to Grandmaster Nightfalls. Whilst the magazine is only 6, by default the catalyst can increase this to 9, making this more viable in endgame activities. Now, if you don't have the ERIANA'S Vow, because this was a seasonal exotic, you'll need to use the exotic Cypher from this season's season pass and hand that in at Master Rahul in order to collect this exotic from him directly. So if you don't have this already, I highly recommend that you use your Cypher in order to get it, as it will be super useful for new endgame content later this fall. Now, the next weapon on our list is the Divinity. This is an exotic energy trace rifle. This is a raid exotic, and it comes with the exotic intrinsic trait called Judgment. So sustained damage with this weapon envelopes the targets in a field that weakens and disrupts them, strong against overload champions as well. It also comes with the legendary trait Penance, where targets under the effects of Judgment long enough are struck with a burst of damage. Now, if you don't have the Divinity, you'll need to complete it as part of a quest alongside the Garden of Salvation raid, so be sure to form those fire teams and complete the puzzle to get your hands on this excellent raid exotic. Now, this can be paired with some of the weapons we covered previously in this video, things like the ERIANA'S Vow and the IZANAGI'S Burden, to deal immense damage to single targets, especially in end game activities. So you'll find the Divinity form key parts of many Grandmaster Nightfall loadouts purely for that reason. And as we all know, exotics are not being sunset either, so you don't have to worry about any power caps when it comes to any of the exotic weapons that we've mentioned in this video. Now, moving on to power weapons now, the first power weapon we're going to take a look at is the Fallen Guillotine. This is a legendary power sword, and it is a vortex frame, which was an entirely new frame introduced with Season of Arrivals. If you don't have one, it is easily accessible for the Umbral engrams over in the Tower Annex. Now, this is a vortex frame where you can launch a heavy spin attack, and heavy attacks are stronger with full energy. Attacks also bypass elemental shields as well. Now, this has formed a key part to a lot of builds, especially in end game PvE content, because it has the ability to deal immense damage, sometimes to multiple targets in such a short space of time. Now, the key role that most people are seeking out is Relentless Strikes, where landing 3 light attacks within a short time grants sword ammo, alongside Whirlwind Blade, where rapid sword strikes increase the weapon's damage for a short duration, and Guardian will also end the effect. By pairing these two pokes together, you can recoup a lot of your ammo, but also gradually build up your damage, which you can then use as part of your heavy spinning attack to deal large amounts of damage. Now, as an entirely new weapon introduced this season, this will sunset in Season 15, so it has a maximum power cap of 1360. Now, the penultimate weapon in our video today is the XENOPHAGE. This was an exotic powerful machine gun as part of an exotic quest introduced with Shadowkeep. It comes with the exotic intrinsic trait Pyrotoxin rounds, which fire high-powered explosive ammunition. It also has Rangefinder, where aiming with the weapon increases its effective range and zoom magnification. Now, when it was first introduced in Shadowkeep, XENOPHAGE wasn't the most popular weapon. If anything, it was a little bit underpowered for what it was. However, since then it's become a key part to many raid builds and forms a key weapon in any loadout, especially during the Garden of Salvation raid. Now, it's likely this will continue to be the case even through Beyond Light, so if you don't have the XENOPHAGE or even Shadowkeep at the moment, be sure to consider that ahead of the next DLC to make sure you have this in your arsenal when approaching the Deepstone Crypt later this fall. Now, the final weapon in our video today is the ANARCHY. This is an exotic powerful grenade launcher introduced alongside Black Armory. It's a raid exotic available from the Scourge of the Past raid, which is now a featured raid. So if you don't have your hands on it, it's a great opportunity to chase this exotic down. It comes with the exotic intrinsic trait Arc Traps, where grenades stick to surfaces and chain arc bolts to other mines. Now, whilst the ANARCHY doesn't deliver high damage on its own, it does pair very well with a lot of other weapons, and you'll find the ANARCHY form a key part to a lot of low man challenges. Alongside that, you'll also see it in Grandmaster Nightfalls very often, as it does excellent tick damage, especially those champions throughout the activities. So if you don't have this raid exotic that's not going to be sunset as part of the end of this season, then be sure to jump into the Scourge of the Past raid at least to try and get your hands on it. So there we have it, 10 weapons that I firmly believe should form part of every arsenal ahead of Beyond Light. So if there are any in that list that you are missing, be sure to chase them down and get your hands on them before the end of Season of Arrivals. If there's any role suggestions though, on top of the ones that we covered in this video, as always, be sure to sound off down in the comment section below. Now, if you have enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a rating down below. That super helps me out here on the channel. And if you are new here and want to keep up to date with all the latest Destiny 2 content, be sure to hit subscribe as well. I'm going to jump back into the game as always, guys, but I will catch you all again very soon.